Howdy y'all, today's a special day because today is LAOL's Sweet 16. We're stretching our legs. We're up here in the Poudre Canyon on our way up to Steamboat, Colorado. All right, let's hit the road. I think they call this Cameron Pass. I don't know if we're at the top yet. So that's 2T9595. We're gonna take the blade off of it. The gentleman that enlightened us about this tractor is actually gonna haul it to our house for us. It'll go over the pass a lot easier without that blade on here. Is he pretty straight? Yeah, we're lined up nice. Yeah, looks good. Yeah. What do you think, Darren? Yeah, I think it's fine right there. It'll work there. I was going to take some more footage, but it's kind of hot. Well, it's mountain hot. It's about 83, so not terrible. But kind of a cow trail back up in here. And Nelson's going to bring the blade out to our house probably tomorrow. Taking it super slow. This is a long, slow climb. Just came over Rabbit Ears Pass and we're heading to Walden. We're actually going up through Laramie, by way of Laramie, Wyoming on the way home. Really coming down. Total mountain weather. It was like almost 90 when we went up over Rabbit Ears Pass. 89. 89. And right now it is 50 degrees. There's something in Laramie that I really like. Well, there's two things. One of them is antique crawler parts. If you guys looking for hard to find Caterpillar parts, repairs, service, check them out. I really recommend Chad up there. And then the cupcake place in Laramie. Every time I go to Laramie, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it today, but I usually bring one home for Jolene. This is definitely going to be a long day because we left at what, 6:30? Yep. Yeah, 6:30, and it's right now almost 5 p.m. and I think we got about 2.5 more hours to go. Three more hours. It always amazes me what a small world this is. We just stopped to use the restrooms here in Laramie and we ran into Dean from Antique Crawler Parts, so maybe his ears were ringing. I don't know, but he wanted to check out our score here. Road construction.
whole ride back, as usual, Dad and I are afraid to acknowledge that things are going very well until we absolutely get this thing in the yard. And once we got into the yard, we were very happy. Pulling this thing over the pass was, well, it was a lot for my pickup. That thing's gotten D4s from Nebraska, Montana, Minnesota, probably 10 of them here from Colorado. It has hauled a lot of heavy loads, and it ran like a champ today. Thank you, Tree Fitty.
Breaker 19, you're more than welcome. We're just happy to do what needs to be done.
I'd like to introduce you to Sweet 16, because this is the 16th D4 that is sitting on this place. Blade will be here soon. Once we get it unloaded and get this unloaded, then we'll go over what we got. And what we have here is very unique and very unusual, and even more unusual than the 2T I thought we were getting.
Unlike when we used to haul wheel loaders and rubber tire backhoes in vehicles, tie this thing down, it does not budge.
Okay.
Got the blocks under there. Yeah, we learned that one the hard way when we picked up Wheezy. Okay, John Denver, can you help us unload another D4?
Take me home on a country road.
I mean, yeah, we took it home down a country road to the place where it now belongs.
Rocky Mountain High.
Really? Can we just get this thing unloaded?
So how many of you were screaming at your TV or your phone and saying, the hood's still strapped down, the hood's still strapped down, what are you doing? What was I doing?
Well, at least the hood was trash already.
So this one pulls extremely hard. It's been sitting for a long time. And when we do the walk around,
you'll see one of the other reasons we bought this thing, because these track chains are excellent. I'm gonna push this thing around back and forth a little bit with the backhoe. See if I can kind of exercise those chains and pins a little bit.
I think the perfect place to park Sweet 16 is right here in front of these World War II trucks. Cool. Let's get the blade here.
We gotta walk around to do Mr. Sprocket.
What do you want to show me? What? Well, let's go see. So this tractor is Tractor Light M1, and it is a World War II 2T9595 WSP special parts. So wide WSP special parts. This is the only
D4 that we didn't have in our collection from the first two generations. A very kind viewer watched my recap of all the other 15 D4s that we have here, and he reached out and said, hey, I know where 2T is, and I think they're willing to sell it.
You can clearly see right here on the side of the engine block, the tag reads 2T9595 wide special parts. And it's got a stamping in here from a rebuild. Looks like 859. But the tag is missing on the back, so we don't know if this is a matching machine, but I brought a tool with us. We're about to find out. If I'm correct, it should be stamped right there. There it is right there, 2T9595 wide SP special parts.
2T prefixes were built primarily during World War II from about 1942 to about 1945. The U.S. military designated these as a light tractor M1. They were used in a lot of roles, including towing artillery and aircraft.
We're going to go over the special parts on this one in a minute, because this one certainly is special.
But first, let's see what kind of shape this thing's in.
The drawbar on this machine and the swing plate are spectacular. really, really good. Probably the best one we have here on the place. You can clearly see underneath the paint everywhere is OD green, World War II colors. This one does have a very unique, interesting, and useful dozer blade that is not period correct. The machine has solid front idlers, which, according to my gauge, are fairly worn. The grouser bars on the track pads are quite worn out as well. It's also been torch cut for the snow. Although it only has 4 rollers on the bottom, this is a 5-roller frame. We've counted the links in the tracks, and they're the same as the 1945 Corel 5T that we have inside. You can clearly see that there's only 4 rollers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But there's a mounting position, and there are mounting holes underneath the track frame to mount another roller. Although these track pads are just plain wore out, this tractor was probably originally equipped with street pads. And we'll get to the reasoning for that in just a bit. And while we're under here, you can see that there is no leaf spring suspension. This is a solid suspension. There is no articulation in the track frames. It is completely solid. Oh, Mr. Sprocket says we're missing the most important part, the sprockets. Yeah, these things are trash. Completely trash. Somebody's actually tried to build them up with weld and rebuild them. Yeah. Actually, the one on this side's not terrible. The one on the other side's awful. You can see the sprues of weld where they tried to rebuild these. There's something very excellent about this machine. It's just like Corel. It has excellent track chains and pins. You can see they still have quite a bit of life left in them, and the pins have not been turned. The rollers are definitely very ugly and grooved out, as is the carrier, at least on this side. The one on the other side's actually quite good. You'll also notice that this has a very unique mounting system that goes to what Dad and I call the chicken wing on the frame, and the frame has also been fish plated to strengthen it. Unfortunately, the sheet metal is not in great shape. The fuel tank has a dent. You can still see the OD green paint there. OD green paint on the fenders. OD green paint on the top cover. But somebody has cut the hood. We kind of had to move quick on this one because, well, they were going to scrap it. And it was sitting up in the mountains, and the owner of the property just wanted it out of there because they're going to be developing, and they needed it out of there right away. So this all came about in about 3 or 4 days. The brake pedals, they, well, both have substantial wear. It shifts into gear, but the steering clutches and the main clutch have issues. Steering clutches are froze, and I can't get the main clutch engaged. We do have some very good news. This pony motor has 0 in play, and it's free, and it has very, very good compression. Just for fun, I figured out the casting date of this top cover, and that would be February 9th of 1945. Something else really cool. The main engine is free, and it turns. Now, I'm guessing the factory fan shroud was maybe a military thing, because the D44 military power unit that we have has the same thing. This also has the newer style flat top governor, and you can clearly see the OD green paint. It does have the original service meter, but I can't read it. Decompression system is working and free. This also has the vent in the top of the pony motor, the brass valve to let air out of the cooling system. A very much needed addition that we could very much use on our 4G series tractors. Of course, this does have the D4400 engine. This does have the newer style injectors that don't have the pre-combustion chambers that we have to tamp in. These are screwed in and held in place with set screws. The engine has oil, but it's very low. Pony motor also has oil, but again, low. Now I'm going to get to the part that makes this thing very special, and I'm going to tell you what I know about this tractor, or what I think I know, and I'm going to ask the viewers if they have any suggestions. The dozer is obviously a post-war aftermarket dozer. Very neat because it's pinned in the middle. You can unpin the sides and actually pull this out to angle the dozer either direction and repin it. The dozer dismounts very, very easily by simply pulling the pins where the hydraulic cylinders mount, right here and over there. And the pocket of this blade fits in this big pin, and then you can put another pin right back here or bolt to hold it in place. I'm not sure why, but there appears to be another mounting location for something on the back of the machine, but that might be for what I suspect this machine originally had, which was the Traxxon Traxcavator. From what I could find out, all the Traxxon Traxcavators had the long frame undercarriage, street grousers. I've also seen quite a few pictures of Traxxon Traxcavators on D4 chassis with solid front idlers, but I've seen some without. This machine is also in the wide configuration, as opposed to this RD4 here in the narrow 44-inch configuration. The wides are a 60. Trek frames have been modified on this quite a bit to accept this solid frame that's kind of bolstered from the track frames back there that runs along the front, up here. And I think that was the original Traxxon Traxcavator frame. Some of the welds on this are kind of impressive, and I don't know what period they would have done this. I'm guessing right there at the end of World War II. Maybe the military had done this. I've seen similar welds on Sherman tanks. I definitely imagine this would have been a rough ride with that solid suspension and no leaf springs in the front. Not too sure about the aftermarket hydraulic system on this. The make, I can't tell. I would suspect a LaPlante choke, but this looks like a aluminum pump. And LaPlantes that we have here have all been heavy steel. LaPlantes, Laternos, and Traxxon all would have been period correct. Back here where this mounts on the chicken wing of the track frame, you can clearly see some part numbers in here, although I have not been able to make them out. Field addition that someone has done to this blade is put holders for shanks for rippers to go on the back of the blade so that in reverse you could scarify and then going forward you could doze. My grandfather did a similar modification on a TD6 back in the day, and the way it worked is they would flip up when you pushed forward, so you weren't scarifying going forward. I have a sneaking suspicion that whoever bought this didn't like the Traxxon Traxcavator for, well, I wouldn't like it either. I'd have probably done the same thing, but they cut the superstructure off and built that subframe into a frame for the dozer that is very much like the modern day dozers. And frankly, that was quite a clever idea, and this thing is solid steel. All of these parts are very solid. They've even gusseted the track frame on the inside on the other side to box it in for strength. A good majority of these parts that they welded together to make the superstructure for the dozer blade actually have OD green underneath. Something that's very cool that I noticed is they did retain the original hydraulic controls down to the lever, which you could see here. They welded an extension on so the operator could sit and not have to reach so far out to get to the lever. Better updated throttle control. Someone has affixed a aftermarket temperature gauge, a water temp gauge. It looks fairly new. There was a fuel pressure gauge here. Of course, the oil pressure and water temperature gauges were originally right here, and this one looked like it had the provisions for lights. The carburetor controls for the throttle and the choke are both working and not froze. Neither is the magneto switch. Then I see somebody left on. I hope we didn't run down the battery. This has the oil lines going up to the oil cooler, which unlike Lefty at this point is now incorporated into the front of the radiator. Dad and I did notice that somebody actually drilled and tapped a grease zerk in the intake for the main engine. Our suspicion is that was a method to put starting fluid in there, or maybe even diesel. I think this was originally equipped with a Traxxon Traxcavator. That's a lot of heavy modifications and definitely some special parts. You may notice that the superstructure frame also has a gusset that goes across the very front of the machine. I'm guessing you want to know if we've named this D4, and yeah, we have. Well, I have. This D4 is called Sweet 16 because, well, this is the 16th D4 that we actually have now. I did do a video outlining all the rest of them, their serial numbers, dates, names, everything. And I've done walkarounds on every one of these 16 D4s. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Welcome to LAOL Sweet 16. Like, thank you. I really like it here. All these guys are super nice to me. Boys, you better behave. No toolbox tours. No toolbox.
Wanted to say thank you to the folks that have helped us out with super thanks to support the channel, channel members, and even subscribing, hitting that thumbs up button. That helps us out financially too, and helps us afford to do things like this and bring you this content. So if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button down below.
The OD green paint, the OD green paint, the OD green paint, OD green, OD green, OD green, OD green, OD green, OD green, olive drab, OD green, OD green, OD green, OD green, OD green, olive drab. Special parts.